All right, well, hello everyone and happy Friday. It's digital host AJ Wuest here, welcoming you back to Before the Four. Of course, the live stream where I go through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. Each and every day I say it, wherever you're watching Before the Four this afternoon, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or our 48 Now live stream. As always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Friday afternoon here. A very nice Friday afternoon. It is feeling wonderful outside, but as we move towards the weekend, it's going to cool off. We're going to toss it over to 48's Jada Russell. Jada, how are you today?
I am doing pretty good. It is definitely a warm day outside, and I am a warm-natured person. Like, I prefer to be warm, so it feels great to me. It's been a nice breeze outside as well, so if you haven't made any Friday night plans, now's a good time to do so. Go ahead and get out and enjoy the city, wherever you may be, across the valley this evening. However, we are expecting some late night rain chances right around 11 o'clock or so. Now, some of our Tennessee communities could see that a touch earlier, maybe at 9 and 10 o'clock instead. But what we're tracking is some cooler weather to come alongside these rain chances, a blast of cold air. And Brad has been talking about some of that colder air just sitting up near Canada. We're starting to see some of that make its way down, but very short-lived. We just want you to know that there's 2 first alert weather days with this cold front coming in. So Sunday and Monday are alert days. Temperatures will drop about 20 degrees cooler on Sunday to about 46, and then we'll drop into the 30s on Monday. And you'll notice even out the door, right around 23 degrees on your Monday morning. So this is definitely an opportunity for you to pull out those winter jackets once again. I know you probably put them away for a little bit, but time to pull them back out just for the next couple of days going into Sunday and Monday. Those are the big 2 days that we're thinking about so far. So looking ahead to what things are looking like at the moment, a lot of 70s. I'm going to see if I can slide out the way a little bit so you can see your neck of the woods. Looks like Fayetteville, Coleman, and Meridianville. At the bottom there, still beautiful sunshine expected, but we are starting to see some cloud cover increasing right around Muscle Shoals and parts of Huntsville as well. But even still, not going to see heavy cloud cover until late tonight, right before we get those rain chances on deck for us. So storm timeline for you, what we are expecting. If you were maybe woken up early this morning and you heard a little bit of a heavy downpour, some gusty winds, rumble of thunder, and then it was over within about 20 or so minutes. That's kind of similar to what we're going to see tonight. However, it's the effect of our temperatures dropping that's making it the first alert weather day for Sunday and Monday. But storm timeline, as you'll see here, kind of set up similar. We'll see a lot of those heavy rain chances going into 2 and 3 o'clock for tomorrow morning. So keep that in mind. If you are staying out late, it's going to start up around 11 o'clock. So you might want to keep an umbrella with you. But as for right now, we are expecting to see a pretty dry evening till that point. And then as we get into your Saturday, most of Saturday is going to be nice and dry, just a touch cooler and a little breezier for you. So I'll be here for the 4, 5, 6, and 10, and even for Weather Extra at 9:30 tonight. Make sure you tune in. I'll be filling in for Brad tonight, and then I'll be here on the weekends for my folks that tune in on the weekends. Back to you, AJ.
Ooh, Jada, I am ready for it to warm up and stay warm, but we got to push through, enjoy this weather out today because it is not going to last once we head into Sunday and Monday, as Jada just mentioned. But as Jada just said, 48 first alert weather extra tonight at 9:30. Jada Russell will be back here in the streaming center. She'll go through the radar, everything you need to know, and feel free to leave a comment on Facebook, YouTube, all of that great stuff. Jada will see those comments, and if you have a question, she will work to find that answer for you. So you're just not going to want to miss it. 48 first alert weather extra. But now let's jump into some of the day's top stories, and now an update to a shooting yesterday afternoon in Huntsville. Authorities now say that a 17-year-old was shot and killed on Powell Drive around 4 yesterday. When officers arrived, they found the 17-year-old male suffering from a gunshot wound. He was taken to Huntsville Hospital for treatment, where he later died. A witness who knew the victim and lives in the neighborhood told 48 that he saw 3 teenagers get out of a car and run down the street out of sight. That's when he said he heard around 10 gunshots. The witness then went over to see the victim, who he says was lying on the ground with 3 gunshot wounds. He said he followed the 3 other teenagers to High Top Terrence Road, where he called 911. He then said the police arrested them. Now, the victim's identity has not been released at this time, but we'll have all the latest both on air and online as we learn more. But now we're following up on a situation in Morgan County in which a jailer is facing felony charges after authorities say he stole honey buns and other items from inmates. Jarvis Moore says the office is seeking retaliation against him, but the sheriff says that's not the case. Nick Ballinger with the latest.
Former Morgan County jailer Jarvis Moore is in a sticky situation. He's accused of extorting inmates for their personal property. Moore says he was told he was being fired over stolen honey buns in September, but Sheriff Ron Puckett doesn't want to glaze over the facts.
Is it about honey buns?
No.
Moore was charged with 7 counts of extortion after an investigation in August. Court documents state Moore threatened inmates in order to take their property.
Just because you're an inmate in our jail doesn't mean we can take advantage of you and take your property by force. With the power that he has because of the badge that he wears, he has that power that can be considered a threat.
Moore's attorney says the indictments don't go into detail about the threats nor the property he allegedly took.
He named the individuals in the indictment, but he didn't name any of the property that supposedly my client extorted.
Due to the active case, Puckett couldn't specifically name the property.
Commissary could be anything from stamps to clothes to food to tobacco products. That is delivered like twice a week, so that is their property.
Honey buns are used to make whiskey in a jail. And if you have 5, 6 honey buns, they're taken from you.
Moore told me it was a policy in the jail to take commissary from inmates who misbehaved and give it to others with good behavior.
It may not be a written policy, but it was a policy that they followed.
I don't know of that happening. That is not a policy. If it is going on and our employees are doing that, they will be charged as well.
You're going to go after Jarvis for this and make it a crime? Go after everyone and do the same thing.
Moore told me he believes his firing and arrest was retaliation. He says he was accused of leaking surveillance footage of John Scott Jr. being dragged through the jail. Scott died in jail custody last April.
To my knowledge, no one has ever said anything to him about, hey, we suspect you leaked the video. We've never suspected anyone here of doing that.
Moore says he was passed up multiple times to become a lieutenant, and his arrest came 5 weeks after endorsing Anna Franklin for sheriff. Puckett wants to clear the air.
Was not a result of a retaliation. It was not a result of vengeance or political. It was a result of the actions of Mr. Moore's hands.
Crazy situation all around there. But now we're going to head to break. But coming up, shining a light on the first black woman hired at the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Office. And a sweet story for your Friday you're just not going to want to miss. It's all ahead. We'll go through it all in 1 minute. All right, break time over, y'all. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Before the Four. Today, we're shining a light on the first ever black female hired within the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Office. Dion Williams worked there for 30 years before becoming an SRO at Brooks High School. Aria Pons tells her barrier-breaking story.
there was no female officers, and there were no black female officers. So I said to myself, why not be the first?
Dionne Williams graduated from college right down the road from the sheriff's office. She said she wanted to see someone who looked like her on the force, so she took it into her own hands. She worked there for around 30 years because of how welcoming her coworkers had been.
We all for one, one for all, and there's some great men and women that work at the sheriff's department, still do. And so when you see an officer, just, thank them sometimes, because the job is a serious job.
But eventually it was time to transition into a new role after retirement.
Hello, how are you today? Good. Yes, those are my kids. I don't have kids of my own, but by that being said, I feel like I do, because all of them are my kids, and I enjoy every day interacting with the children, and they interact with me, and I have an open door policy where they can come in, have somebody to talk to.
Williams now works as a school resource officer at Brooks High School and has for the last 4 years. She says there's nothing quite like paving the way and inspiring younger people and making sure that they learn valuable life lessons.
It was never any black females in law enforcement, so that was just a big change for me, just because I never saw anybody. So I felt like it was a need for young girls to see somebody like me in that profession. So one day they may try to say, like, I can do that job.
In Lauderdale County, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
And that is Miss Dionne Williams there. Awesome story she has. But now this Friday, let's wrap up the week on the good side. And today we're looking at a little four-legged gentleman. You can see him strolling in Savannah, Georgia, turning heads. His name is Henry, and he stands out for more than just his fashion. LNL's Tim Ghidra tells us why this handsome pup may be a record setter.
Come on. Come on, that's it. And now you're just going to sit.
Henry isn't setting any speed records these days, but he has earned the right to move slowly or not at all, having reached what is believed to be a record age.
This is Henry. He's a little rat terrier. He's 25 as of the 15th of January.
Which Lori Hartman thinks makes Henry the current oldest living dog, and she is waiting to hear back from Guinness on her application for that title.
It's a process, and once we mail everything in, it's still going to take a couple weeks unless we raise that $800 or whatever it is, then we can bump it up. And in the back of my mind, part of me worries because you don't know how long he's going to be here.
Hartman certainly didn't know that when she and Jim Larson rescued Henry among more than 24 dogs from a breeder in 2009, taking them into their Max's Animal Rescue in Hoboken, Georgia.
We gathered all of them, trapped a bunch, and there was 29. 6 of them were pregnant, and within 9 days we had 50-some dogs. Almost 60 dogs in my little dining room, my 10 by 10 dining room. We have, I think, like 9 between 17 and 25.
All from that group of dogs?
All from that group. And we've had him for 16 years at this point. So he was unadoptable for a very long time.
Henry has gotten famous with his age, which, if you believe in dog years, is 175.
Happy birthday, Henry.
Say thank you.
And he has mellowed from the aggressive 9-year-old he was when he arrived at Max's Animal Rescue.
He's just the cutest little old man, you know. Everybody just thinks he's like a little old gentleman, and his little hat and his little suit. He's always got a bow tie on. Always has a bow tie on. No collars no more, just the bow ties. So, and he loves them.
Hartman hopes a Guinness record will not just celebrate Henry's longevity, but help other senior dogs. She has started a fundraiser in his name to help her shelter and others continue to care for older animals.
What happens is they get lost in the shuffle. The money that's generated for rescues and shelters go to the intakes of the new dogs, the dogs that need medical, emergency medical, or new puppies, and that's great. But there's got to be a little 2 to 5% little line for the seniors left in rescues. And what we want to do is raise enough money to, not only help the couple we have, but, to help other groups.
For now, though, Henry keeps waiting for confirmation on a title that Hartman has been wondering about for a few years.
As he kept aging, going, oh my God, he's going to be this age, he's going to be 20. Oh my God, are you going to make it to 21? And then it's, oh my God, are you going to make it to 22 and 23? And, You know, as it gets like to August, September of the year, you're like, come on, Henry, you're going to do it till January. You got to do it, buddy. You know, so then, you know, he just hangs in there and we're good.
All very cool stuff right there. And now let's go into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. The Supreme Court ruling against President Trump's tariffs earlier today. We'll have the latest coming up. Hearing from Animal Services after more than 70 dogs were found and rescued in North Huntsville yesterday. And finally, putting a pause on the construction of a new sportsplex in the Shoals. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. And now it is that time, y'all. As I said yesterday, we're bringing back yesterday's Facebook question of the day. And let's just jump right into it. Yesterday's question was, of course, what is something you would buy regularly if price wasn't an issue? And let's see what you all had to say. Looks like Adam McDougal, he said beef jerky. I feel like it has its own tax bracket. I feel that you buy a bag of beef jerky, there's hardly any jerky in there, maybe like 7 or 8 pieces of jerky, and you've spent like $15 on it. That stuff is like very, very expensive. So I feel you on that, Adam McDougal. Let's see what else you all had to say. Allie Garner, this is such a sweet comment right here. Allie said, anything my mama needs. Me and you both, Allie. Anything my mama needs. If money wasn't an issue, that is what it's going to, 100%. Thank you so much for commenting, Allie. Sweet comment there. Jennifer said a housekeeper. Man, wouldn't we all like to have a housekeeper? No more cleaning, no more doing laundry, no more washing dishes. Just have a housekeeper to keep it all for me. Jennifer, thank you so much for commenting. Let's see. Alicia Marie said, if I had the space, I'd buy or adopt every pet from every animal shelter. Another very sweet comment right there. Thank you, Alicia. And let's see. A final comment of the week. Let's see. Millie Johnson. She said prime rib. I have only had it about 3 or 4 times and I absolutely love it. That is one of my favorite foods of all time, Millie Johnson. Prime rib, only the primest of the ribs. Me and you both. I agree with every single one of your comments today. Love it so much. A great way to end our Friday there on a good note. But y'all, that is just about all the time I have for today's Before the 4. Thank you all for spending a bit of your Friday afternoon here. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy our evening newscasts. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You all have a great night.